Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in WagerBucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, happy Monday. Welcome in. Time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. It's getting to be crunch time here, guys. Final couple of weeks here of the season. Who's in, who's out, lot to be played. 11 games, in fact, on the card here tonight in the association. We got our 4 picked out for you. Let's take a look at what they are. They will include the Bulls, Miami Heat, the Phoenix Suns taking on the Knicks. We've got the red-hot Washington Wizards taking on the San Antonio Spurs, and the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Sacramento Kings. We'll also hear from our good friend John Ryan of SportsMemo.com with his angle of the day. We got a best bet coming your way from our friends at the Gold Sheet. Plus, these 3 gentlemen are way in here and make it a very profitable Monday. I can assure you of that. Look at who it is, the A-team here, guys. Ski Profit in the house, leading point as usual, of course, in his customary middle spot. Stevie in the middle, Merrill there, 2 R's, 1 L. And who better than Rob Vino to cap it all off on this $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. So, Ski, I'll start with you, my man. $9 Monday. Tell us what you got going on at Wager Talk. How was your weekend as well, man? What's going on?
Well, I did get a new phone. I'm finally setting it up, so it's good now. And as far as betting wise, I won 12 of my last 18 in MLB. I've won 10 of my last 13 in NBA. So I look to try to keep that going this week. And I do have a lot of MLB action already posted today.
All right, we got to keep you away from Merrill because you get way too much smoke up your own ass here, Ski. All right, you're taking a page out of Merrill's book. I want every one of my MLB. I don't want to hear it. Merrill, I'm not even asking you, but what do you got going on at WagerTalk.com tonight?
Well, I'm going to throw you a curveball. You said A-team, so you have to be Hannibal. I'd like to be Mr. T. I loved him growing up, but I'll let Ski be Mr. T because he pities the fool that plays the Houston Rockets, right? So you got to let him be Mr. T. Point. And that means it's crazy Howie Mad Murdoch and Face Man. I'll let Rob Vino be the Face Man. And I'll be crazy Murdoch. And some of the 1-minute drills on this show probably confirm that. But hey, I do have a great special, so I can't go without promoting it. Melissa too, customer support, great idea here. It's $9 Monday, but if you get my $9 package today, you get a promo code for another 7 days for just $69. All sports, basketball and baseball. I took it one better. I put up 3 plays for $9. So it's $3 Monday at WagerTalk.com, and you get that full week for just $69. Sounds complicated, but it's quite easy. Just buy the $9 package and get another 7 days for just $69 at WagerTalk.com.
Listen, I'm just impressed with your A-team knowledge there. Do you have that Wraith man out in the driveway, too, as well? The one with no windows that they used to drive around all the time? What the hell was that thing? It was terrible, that van.
That was a great van. That was a great van. I wanted the Dukes of Hazzard car, and I wanted the A-team van growing up with the Chips motorcycle. So kind of puts, that's my triple play of vehicles right there.
We were told to stay away from vans like that growing up. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It had windows, Joe, in there. It had windows.
Rob Vino,
and it wasn't white.
Rob Vino, what's happening, my man? Talk to me. Happy Monday to you. How was your weekend? What do you got going on at Wager Talk?
Boy, oh boy. Yeah, weekend. Yesterday was really good, Joe. Saturday, about a little less than average, but Sunday, a big day. 6-1 overall, 4-1 NBA. So we came back really strong. Today, $9 Monday, a pair of NBA selections up and available already at WagerTalk.com. You can get both of those right now. Probably going to add to that list as well here in the upcoming 90 minutes. Maybe a baseball play to go with it. But again, 2 plays up right now. $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. That's not quite the Steve Merrill special, but it's what I've got.
I love it. It's always good enough here, guys. And again, just a reminder, $9 Monday means best bets are $9. So as you heard, all three of these guys, their best bets ready to go. $9. Just head over to their pages at WagerTalk.com. All right, let's dive in here, guys. Great card here today. We'll start, of course, with our contrarian game of the day. And we're going to take a look at, well, one half of what we had on Friday for our contrarian play, and that is the Miami Heat. We had the Atlanta Hawks taking on Miami on Friday. We backed the Hawks. That proved to be profitable. Now we're going to look at the Miami Heat taking on the Chicago Bulls here, and the Bulls getting no love. This game opened up as 4-point favorite for the Miami Heat, pretty much similar to what it was on Saturday when these two teams played. But all the money, all the tickets, it's been nothing but Miami Heat love from the get-go here, pushing it up from -4 to -6. You've got yourself a total hanging around low again, 206, which was, again, right around what it was the first go here. No Dragic, no Tyler Hero in the first game. A whole lot of guys questionable as well. Let's take a look at what we're looking at. Who's in, who's out here as of the taping right now, guys. And we know Zach LaVine's already out, but Hero, Iguodala, none. Oladipo's not even in the league anymore, I don't think. But pretty much the usual suspects that we have seen in the past here. So, Steve, I'll start with you. Talk to me about the market move. Do you agree with the move towards Miami, or do you think giving 6 to Chicago in a second of a back-to-back a little too risky?
I always think that Miami needs to go. I think I like the total a little bit more in this game, but if I had to play the side, it has been the road for Chicago as a road dog. That's where they found success, but I would lean towards Miami. I really like the under, though. Both teams playing extremely slow. Both top 10 defensive rated teams over the last 5 games. I wouldn't be scared of the low number either. If you're looking at totals under 210 this year, the under is 21, 5, and 2. So I like under that 206 for me.
All right, he likes the under in this particular game. But, Steve, man, we talked about it. We talked about it on Friday, as a matter of fact, with this team, with the inconsistent Miami Heat team. They were laying 7 without Trae Young in Atlanta. That didn't work out well. And here they go now. The number continues to get pushed up by the market. Is there any value going contrarian with Chicago in your mind?
Yeah, I always look to go, kind of contrarian, or not contrarian, but zigzag with the team that lost the head-to-head meeting the first time when they have these back-to-backs, and that was Chicago, both straight up in ATS. So that gets me leaning that way. But I agree with Ski on the under, and that's a great stat that he brought up about how these low totals have gone heavy to the under. I talked about it briefly on Wager Talk today with baseball with the 6.5s. I usually look to play under those. And I mentioned on the show that John Ryan had actually mentioned when Rob Vino and I were doing the happy hour a few weeks ago on Friday with Tony Finn. John actually mentioned, I think, the first 28 games this year with the highest totals in the league went 21-7 to the over. So Ski's talking about how they go under the low totals. We know they go over the high totals. It's something that continues to work. And yes, one of those unders was a 207 final with that 203 on Saturday. That total actually was as high as 208 in a lot of books. I even saw a 210 briefly on the overnights. So it kind of technically landed in between the opening and closing lines. And I like the under here. Hero might be back. He wasn't there Saturday. As I mentioned, Dragic. All these questionable players makes it tough to call right now. But the matchup and the quick revenge situation, I think, does favor the under in this game.
All right. We got 2 for the under. Like you say, we've seen it twice, right, between these two teams, Rob, this year with points, 207, 191. But it's laying the 6 that bothers me here, because I feel like we just watched this on Friday. Do you, from a side perspective, you okay laying the 6 here in this spot?
Well, it's interesting, Joe, because normally when we've gone through these games with injuries or returns from rest or injury, it's starters that move the number. Here in this case, I feel like it was Goran Dragic. He didn't play Saturday.
Right.
He plays today, and the game goes from 4 to 6. He's as valuable as any Miami starter, according to the line, right? And he very well may be. This game was an absolute blowout Saturday night, right? Miami led by 17 after 3, quit playing. Chicago cut it to 2 points with about 15 seconds left in the game, and Miami made some free throws subsequently to go ahead and get that game to 106-101, where they covered the 4.5. Reading a couple of quotes, I don't know that they'll play around in the fourth quarter if they have a lead here. I think they'll put the pedal to the metal and not extend, but at least hang on to margin in this game. It's interesting. Miami sits in a tie for that 6th seed with Boston. And I think if you're in the East, the team you want to avoid is Brooklyn. I don't think people care if they play, especially Miami. If we play Philadelphia, okay. If we play Milwaukee, okay. But they probably don't want to play Brooklyn. So the 6th spot keeps you from playing Brooklyn, at least at this point in time, because Brooklyn's the number 1 seed. So I think there's a little extra motivation there for Miami to win some of these games. They've been good against the spread recently, 4-1 ATS last 5. So it's not like they're not covering games. I think I would lean that way, Joe, especially with Dragic back. If Kendrick Nunn is able to go here, he had 22 the other night. That would be a bonus as well. They played without Hero the other day, so if they're without Hero here, I don't think it makes a difference, seeing that they were really, like I say, blowing Chicago out for the majority of that game. So I'll look toward Miami here, which would be opposite of Contrarian, I guess.
Yeah, it's Chicago. I think the 4 starters on Saturday scored 20 or more points. Miami only used 4 bench players even in that game there. So on Saturday. And they have dominated this series here. They have dominated against Chicago, going 8-2 on the last 10. So that's the game we're looking at, though, as the market continues to push towards Miami, -6 right now. The contrarian side, for our purposes, will be Chicago take the 6 in that game. All right, we're going to move on to one of our first featured games here of the night, and maybe what some people might say, oh, look at that, the New York Knicks. Interesting spot here for the Phoenix Suns. Now, this game opened up, sure enough, right around the Phoenix laying 1, and then, of course, now I'm seeing 2.5 here, guys, towards Phoenix. So the money is rolling in on Phoenix as we speak here, and the Knicks have only gone, what, I don't know, 13-0 against the number now. What do we got, 11? I mean, all they do is win, but the market thinks Phoenix is the way to go here. Total hovering around that 215 mark. I even see a 216 in the marketplace. But, Steve, this is now back-to-back with travel for Phoenix. It's a terrible spot. This is 5-8 on the road trip for them. Their 5th game in 8 days here on this road trip. When they go home, they've got the Clippers and Jazz also coming up. So it's just an awful spot for Phoenix, but the market likes them. What do you think?
Yeah, Joe, the market definitely likes them. It opened 1, and now it's up to 2.5. It was 2 this afternoon when I did Wager Talk today. We covered this game, and I mentioned I did not think it was a good bounce-back spot for Phoenix. Hey, look, normally the second best record in the NBA, I look to play on those teams as small road favorites off back-to-back losses, because that usually means they're focused, they're playing a weaker team, and they come and bring their A game. But I don't think that's the case here. First of all, it's not a good spot for Phoenix, as you just laid out. It's the end of an East Coast trip. And let's put it in perspective. They lose outright as a 12-point favorite in their final home against San Antonio a couple weeks ago. Then they go on the road. They need overtime to beat Milwaukee by 1. They beat Philly by 3, almost goes to OT as Embed throws a full-court shot at the end that almost goes in. They then lose by 13 at Boston. They lose by only 9 at Brooklyn yesterday, but they're down by double digits late in that game. It was not really that close. And now they have to play with no rest, with the look ahead to the Clippers and Jazz when they get back home. And meanwhile, it's not like they're necessarily the better team right now. The New York Knicks are quietly 10-2 straight up, 12-0 against the spread. It's 12 straight point spread covers now for the Knicks. They've been the underdog darling all season long. Their over-under wins was 22.5 for the season. They got their 23rd win on March 24th, 23-22 to start the season. That was barely 60% of the games they went over their season win total. That's pretty remarkable and shows how underrated they've been from the start. And the fact they've covered 12 straight shows they remain underrated. And the fact they're a home dog here against an unrested team that's not playing well shows that as well. You know, when the Jazz went on that monster 17-2 point spread run a few months ago, we said, you know, mostly those were single-digit spreads. They just weren't correcting and catching up. Phoenix was in that same boat a few months ago, and they were the hottest team in the league, but they have cooled off now, and it doesn't look like the market has caught up to the Knicks. And then on top of that, this line has gone from +1 to +2.5. So I think New York's the way to play the side here. And if you like New York, I think that correlates to the under 215 as well. A better defensive team, and Phoenix is definitely a fatigue team as well.
Rob, I'm looking here. There have been 15 home underdogs on a winning streak of at least 8 games since 1996. 2 of them happen to be playing tonight. This is one of them. We'll talk about the other team coming up in just a minute. But is it an injury thing? What does the injury report show here with the Phoenix and Knicks here? Are we missing anything as far as the latest numbers go, as far as who's in and who is out here? Because I'm not seeing anything that's any different here. It's the usual suspects. If anything, Phoenix is the one that's hurting here a little bit, Rob, from a health perspective. So talk to me. Do you agree with the market move here?
No, I like the Knicks, but I won't just call it fatigue. We'll dig into why it is fatigue for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, we know it's 5th road game in 8 days. We know it's back-to-backs, but they're shorthanded and they've been shorthanded. This will be the 3rd straight game without Jay Crowder. This will be the 2nd straight game without Dario Saric. And those 2 names mean a lot here because they're Phoenix's first team and second team power forward. So they're missing both their top 2 power forwards. The Knicks power forward happens to be Julius Randle. Now, yesterday, for a front line, Phoenix went small with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. Neither one of those 2 guys is going to handle Julius Randle tonight. So if you want to play Julius Randle props, it probably would be wise to do so. I think what we'll end up seeing here, Joe, we saw a little reappearance yesterday of Frank Kaminsky, almost 11 minutes off the bench. Size-wise, he's really the only guy that can get somewhat physical with Julius Randle. So I think we might see a few more minutes out of Frank Kaminsky in this game. We hadn't seen him for quite a while. But Phoenix sent their top 6 guys out there in that game yesterday for between 31 and 37 minutes. The 37-minute guy was Devin Booker. So they played a lot yesterday against Brooklyn. And to have to come back here tonight against the Knicks, boy, to call it fatigue is correct. But I think when we examine inside the fatigue, we find even more trouble for Phoenix. And I'll say this. In yesterday's game against Brooklyn, one huge advantage that Phoenix had was DeAndre Ayton in the pivot. And here, I don't know if that advantage is as big against Nerlens Noel. First of all, Nerlens Noel plays about 6 more minutes a game than DeAndre Jordan does. DeAndre Jordan's about a 20-minute guy and out, and then the Nets play extremely small. Noel will play closer to 28 minutes. The Knicks will have a little more size to battle Ayton, and I don't think things will come as easy as they did for him yesterday. So a lot of reasons here to like the Knicks, to play against the line move. We'll see how Tom Thibodeau chooses to go here, because I feel like he could go one of 2 ways. He could try and speed this thing up for a little bit to tire Phoenix out, or he could just go into a slow grind and see if Phoenix can beat him, in which case you might look under.
Yeah, I mean, they've won 21-31 at home here. The Knicks have been, and we've talked about it, whether it be the first half or they're on a streak right now, first half overs, and they're shutting teams down in the second half. It's the market moving's a head scratcher here. What do you think? Is it Knicks or not for you here?
Well, Phoenix covers so many games, but they don't do it that much on the road. Only 10-9 as the road favorite. You look at where they've been playing lately. They're 2-4 against the spread the last 6 games. And you're looking on the other side, the Knicks have been playing great basketball. They've covered every single game, I think, the last 9. So I would be rolling with who's been playing better. And as far as the power forwards missing for the Phoenix side and who's going to guard Julius Randle, I mean, he's the guy who's been tearing it up for New York anyway. So if nobody's going to be in front of him and they're the team that's been playing better, I would be rolling with the Knicks side.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting line move here, but if you've been riding the Knicks, if it ain't broke, Ski, don't fix the damn thing. Keep riding them here, guys. It's a terrible spot for Phoenix. All right, we told you about only a couple of, 15 teams since 1996 on 8 or more game winning streaks that are actually home dogs. The Knicks were one. Here's the other, the Washington Wizards here tonight now. They, too, are in a very precarious spot as they have been rolling. They've kind of put themselves right back into the playoff conversation here. They've been playing great basketball. The problem is it looked like Beal twisted himself up there at the end of that game last night against Cleveland. So in all likelihood, if he's not on the court, we know what this Wizards team is. So I guess it's no surprise, Rob, that they've been getting an awful lot of money, that being San Antonio all day. And no Beal, I understand why. How are you going to approach this game here tonight?
Well, I think he's going to go, Joe, because he's not listed on the injury report. But Russell Westbrook is, which would be a reason why you'd go from 2 to 4 maybe. Russell Westbrook, questionable in this game. However, you're getting back Rui Hachimura for the Washington Wizards, which is huge on their front line, especially with Robin Lopez having a little question mark. And we know that you can take advantage of San Antonio on the interior. So if Washington has their guys here, you would think that not only can they hang with San Antonio perimeter-wise and probably outplay them, but they can certainly do some damage inside. And both teams have been pretty hot, but let's point out the trend that San Antonio's taken here, which has been to the under. 6 consecutive unders played by the San Antonio Spurs. And some of those unders were against some really, really good offensive teams. You've got Portland, Phoenix, Indiana, listed in that mix. And the game's not just going under, but going under by a significant margin. However, I think we need to point out the fact that, yes, they went under against the Pistons. The Pistons rested 4 guys. Yes, they went under against Indiana. Indiana had 3 guys out. Yes, they went under against Phoenix. That's the game where Phoenix rested everybody. So some of it you got to take with a grain of salt. I'm not so sure if San Antonio's under trend is more geared to the fact that their opponents haven't been whole when they've played them. We'll see tonight because the Wizards can certainly put up points. I would probably wait to see if Russ is going to be on the floor. And if he is, I've got no interest in going against Washington right now. They've been good for a long time. And we mentioned how they've shown fight and how they really want to get into this play-in tournament. So I would probably, +4, think I'd look towards Washington in this game.
Yeah, I mean, from 2 to 4 here, and the total went from 229.5 to 227.5, Ski, and 6-0 run to the under with Santa. They're playing some defense. There's no doubt about it. But Beal, to me, is the big factor. He did tweak that calf a little bit last night at the end. Doesn't show up on the injury report, but we know it's the NBA. What the hell does that mean 3 minutes before tip-off there? So, but if it's no Russell and Beal, you still okay back in Washington here?
Well, no Russell and yes Beal. I'll shoot out the numbers. I was kind of looking them up while guys were talking. But so when Russell Westbrook is not playing, the Wizards are 4-3 straight up, 5-2 to the over, and 5-2 against the spread. When Beal is out of the lineup, they're 1-8 straight up, 4-5 against the spread, and 5-4 to the under. So Beal means a lot more to this team than Russell Westbrook is what I'm seeing. And like Rob pointed out, he's not on the injury report anymore. So as long as he's going and you get Hachimura back too, I would look towards the Wizards. I think that they're the more talented team. They've won 8 in a row. I know the Spurs, this is their role as the road favorite, or they've been playing good lately too. But I would trust the Wizards. Maybe Westbrook goes, but even if he doesn't, I think they can get it done.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot here because we're talking about a team that's absolutely on fire here, Steve, with Washington, but they're a dog, and it continues to move away from them here, even with Beal not being on the injury report. So something's going on here. How are you going to approach this game?
Yeah, even if everybody was healthy, I think it's a good spot. I like San Antonio in this spot, and I hope Beal maybe isn't 100%. If that's the case, I do think he's going to play, and Westbrook might not go at all. I like the Spurs more than, and I do think that's why the line looks a little inflated, but I think San Antonio wins this game either way. The under does make some sense to me, though, because as Rob said, Indiana, Detroit shorthanded, but if you look at the Spurs, they've gone under 6 straight now, but those last 4 games, they have shot 43% or worse in 3 of the 4. Despite going 4-1 straight up. So they're winning games, even not shooting the ball that well. I think that gets healthy tonight, and that's one of the reasons I do like the Spurs on the side here. I think they'll be able to score against the Wizards, who have played good statistical defense during this run, but I still don't rate them as a good defensive team. So I think the pieces align here for a sneaky win by the Spurs tonight and for this winning streak to come to an end for the home dog Wizards.
All right, good game, guys. We got, of course, one more game, our overtime game we'll get to in just a second, but I do want to remind you it is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com, which means Ski Profits, Steve Merrill, and Rob Vino, best bets, $9, guys, posted on their pages at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you visit them here. Let's make it one hell of a profitable Monday to start the week here in the association. 11 games on the card. A lot of opportunities to start counting the cash and cashing tickets here today. $9 Monday. Take advantage while we take a look at our overtime game. And shouldn't be a shock, I guess, that the name Sacramento has something to do with this overtime game as they take Dallas. Maybe the thing that's shocking is usually it's going the other way. It's rising. Now it's getting steamed down. So 227.5 is what we saw as an open. And Sacramento coming off of that game in which they pushed Golden State there yesterday, even without Fox, who they won't have for a couple of weeks for the COVID protocol. 223.5 is the number now. So, Ski, I'll start with you, my man. Is there any value to looking at the over, in your opinion?
This one is tough for me. I really don't want to look towards an over without De'Aaron Fox, and it's not just that. I mean, you have a whole lot of questionables. I think 4 out of the 5 starters for Dallas all game time decision. So it's a lot of points that could be potentially missed in this game. But Sacramento doesn't play any defense, and that's what's always going to scare me off backing and under. So, hey, I guess if I had to look at it, both offenses have been good lately. I'll still go with an over. I would just hope that some of these guys are in the lineup to get there.
Wow. Yeah. Do we have that injury? I mean, look at this thing. It's like a MASH unit here right now. Take a look at this. Doncic, Smith, Kleber, Porzingis, It's just absolutely nuts here. Now we know Fox is out for at least 2 weeks for the COVID protocols here, but I don't know, Merrill. Still an under with Sacramento. I mean, they played pretty well last night against Golden State. What do you think?
Well, I'm a little more comfortable doing it without Fox in the lineup. He's by far their best scorer, 25 points a game. Nobody else on the team averages more than 16.5. So I do think that's a blow. Now, I know everyone can score in the NBA, and we've seen this with lineups messed up like Dallas. These backups come out, and they just get a playground mentality, can still go over. But one thing that's interesting, this looks very low for a Sacramento total, and it is, by the way, because over the last 20 games, they've only had 4 of their last 20 games below 229 for the over-under line, but none of those have gone over, Joe. Three unders and a push when the line's been under 229. So goes back to that theme we had at the beginning of the show about how those low totals, as Ski mentioned, have gone under over 70% of the time this year. I mentioned how majority of the high totals have gone over. This maybe is a mid-range total for the league average, but for Sacramento, it's a low total in my opinion. And they have played those games under. They're low for a reason, and now without their best scorer on the lineup with Fox out, I do not like the over in this one. It'd be under a pass for me.
Rob, even if Dallas is missing a couple of those guys on the screen here, they're still going to push the pace. I mean, we're still looking at 2 teams here that are going to like to run and gun it here. Are you comfortable with looking at the under at this number?
Well, therein lies the problem, Joe, because right before the back-to-backs with the Lakers, Dallas played a game, and I think it was against Detroit. I'd have to look it up, but the game ended 127-117, 244 total. Reason I bring that up is because before that game, Rick Carlisle made a point of saying that his offense needed to speed things up. He didn't like the way they've been playing slow pace all season long. You look at overall tempo statistics, and you'll find Dallas to the bottom. Carlisle didn't like the way the offense was going, sped it up against Detroit. They get to 127, somewhat did it against the Lakers, but it's hard because you want to play his philosophy change and go ahead and bet over, but with so many missing parts or potentially missing parts, it's hard for me to do so. And the key part, of course, on the Sacramento side, being De'Aaron Fox. I wonder how many of these guys are really going to miss the game for Dallas. Listen, Dallas made a big stink. Luka Doncic, Mark Cuban, this 7 through 10 play-in thing sucks because they were at the 7 spot and maybe going to have to play in that thing. So they played their rear ends off to beat the Lakers twice, once without Kristaps Porzingis. That game Saturday night, Lakers are winning by 17. Dallas comes back and wins by 15, 32-point turnaround. So they're playing hard to avoid being in that 7 through 10 tournament. I can understand the logic. We can beat Sacramento without a couple of our guys, especially if they don't have Fox, but I don't think that they would try it without all of them. Trying to guess which ones are going to go, which ones aren't is beyond me. I'd probably have to wait a couple hours on this one before I could play it either way.
It's funny. I mean, all the teams that are in that, 5th through 8th seed right now, they're all from here on out. It's just going to be kind of its must-win situation to try to avoid that play-in at all costs. So it will make it a very interesting next couple of weeks and end to the season. But we still have some best bets to get to here. And, of course, we put 60 seconds on the clock. It's known as our buzzer beater section. It's very simple, 60 seconds. These guys can do whatever they want with it as long as they drop a best bet in there. So, Ski, you are running point, my man. Talk to us, man. Where are you going here tonight? Knicks first half? Housekeeping?
I'll get some slack if I talk about the Lakers again after their last performance on my best bet segment. So I'm not going to go there. I'll look at but I am going to say they're playing some really weak teams coming up. So just take a look at that. For my best bet, I haven't made a play yet, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that's the way that I'm looking so far. You just have a team that's winning, covering every single game. They're pretty dominant, pretty good at home, and you have a team that's not that good on the road. And I think how they've been all season, they're just a little bit overvalued because of it. So I'll fade Phoenix in the spot that they're in today. I like what Rob said, that they don't have anybody to check Julius Randle. I don't want the points. I just want them on the money line. Ooh. I like the Knicks to win it.
Knicks doing it and getting it done. I love it. All right, so one for the New York Knicks here. All right, Merrill, come on. So, and by the way, you're not really laying 10 against Orlando tonight, are you, Ski? Well, hold that thought. We'll get back to that. Merrill, go ahead. Talk to me, my man. 60 seconds. Where are you going tonight?
Yeah, since housekeeping took the first 10 seconds of Ski's best bet segment here, I thought I'd use my first 10 seconds to slam Anthony Davis. He's been looking strong, guys. 17 minutes, 4 points in his debut back, and then 17 points in 28 minutes on 26% shooting from the field with no three-pointers taken or made, at least. So I don't know. And now they're a 10-point road favorite. How bad must the Orlando Magic be? I don't want to try to guess. I'm not using that game. My best bet actually is going to be against another bad team, and that's against Minnesota. Going to be the Utah Jazz minus 10. Talked about this one earlier on Wager Talk today, so check out the replay with Teddy and Prez for a little more in-depth on this one. But Jazz coming off a terrible showing Saturday. They shot 40%, lost outright as a 12-point favorite. Now they play Minnesota again. Quick revenge spot. They even lost to them earlier this year, so it's double revenge. I know they don't have Donovan Mitchell, but they got plenty of other guys that can play still. Much better team off a loss against a Minnesota team that is now 0-15 straight up off their past 15 wins this year, 2-11-1 against the spread in those spots. Take the Utah Jazz minus 10.
Oh, love that. Had them in the first half laying 7 in that game, and then they blew a 16-point lead with 2.5 minutes left to go. So thanks, Jet. Appreciate that. I'm going back there myself. Rob Vino, talk to us, man. Any other Laker shots you want to take? 60 seconds, all yours. Go. I'm all here.
Nah, I won't take shots at the Lakers. I mean, Anthony Davis, I feel like down the stretch he'll be just fine when push comes to shove. I'm torn here, Joe, because generally I use a game that we talk about on this show. I'd really like to use a game outside of what we talked about, but I won't break my protocol here. I'm going to go to what's worked the last 3 games in a row. Knicks first half over. The totals that they've put up in their last 3 games, 126, 136, and 123. Phoenix off of in the back-to-back situation. If they're going to be strong, to me, it'll be first half. If they're going to fade from fatigue, it would be second half. This number looks low, 105.5. You're talking about 53 aside. Randall should have an easy time of it, and the interior, I could see him having a big first half. I could see Phoenix's guards doing some damage first half. So, to me, I'll take advantage of a low total and a trend that the Knicks are just rolling first half offensively. Give me over 105.5 first half, Phoenix versus the Knicks.
Whoa, look at that. Love it. Slam dunk. And, all right, Ski, be honest. You're laying 10, are you? Are you going to lay to 10?
I'm doing it.
Oh, you son of a bitch. You are a glutton for punishment, my man.
Yes.
Unbelievable. You ain't going to get that basketball anytime soon, by the way. Tony Finn already mentioned it. All right, let's check in with our good friend John Ryan, sportsmemo.com. He does have an angle of the day for us, and it involves the G League team, Oklahoma City Thunder, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers, and I do believe a Sixers team that could well have Simmons back. We'll see. Number one, he says bet on road teams. Number two, revenging a small season loss, that road team. And if they are coming off a double-digit home loss in the last 5 seasons, 76 and 110 straight up, but 121, 63 and 2 against the number. That is 66%. And I feel subset coming. If our road team is a double-digit dog, well, then the record has been 10 and 45 straight up, but 37, 17 and 1. That is 69%. So the angle is pointing, Steve Merrill, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe it's 12 here. And if I'm not mistaken, it was 12. Is it still 12? It is 12 and a half here, 13. So we're basically saying usually these are tough spots for the favorites to get up for. And while they are winning these games, covering double digits might be a little bit of an issue here. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say this could be a contrarian play. Definitely could work as a contrarian play number 2 for the show because, I mean, these are teams that lose by double digits at home, and now they're a lot of times a double-digit road dog. Yeah, it's not that they get their revenge. It's that the big favorite often comes in flat, and I think Philadelphia is a team that definitely could come flat, but OKC's been really ugly recently, so this would be a systematic play only on the Thunder.
Yeah, well, Philadelphia ain't looking good either lately, so we'll see what happens if they can get healthy. We'll take a look at our friends from the Gold Sheet. They've got a best bet as well, and they are looking at, look at this, they're going contrarian on the contrarian. They're going Miami Heat. They say lay the 6, taking on the Chicago Bulls in Game 2 of their back-to-back here. And, of course, guys, as we recap it here one more time, remember that Gold Sheet Best Bets, that entire write-up can be found on Twitter at WagerTalk's page. Make sure you head over there. Every Gold Sheet play that we use on these shows always can be found there. Full write-ups, always great information from the Gold Sheet at WagerTalk on Twitter. Ski, we got it. Ain't broke, don't fix it. He hit points. Ha! Give me the damn money line on the Knicks. He's going Knicks, ML. Steve says take the Jazz. They're not gonna sleep on this Minnesota team here twice. You got Rob Vino thinking the first half over, which has now cashed, I believe, an 8th straight here, guys. Suns Knicks first half over 105.5. The Gold Sheet likes the Miami Heat laying the 6 against Chicago. That is also our contrarian game, with the Bulls being the contrarian side. And that about does it here, guys. Don't forget, $9 Monday, which means $9 best bets from all 3 of these gentlemen can be had right now. Visit their pages at WagerTalk.com. That's Ski, that's Steve, and that is Rob, guys. Best bets locked and loaded tonight for just $9. 11 games in the association, guys. Plenty of ways to make it profitable here. So on behalf of Ski, Steve, and Rob, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Subscribe to the page here on YouTube, and make sure you come back and join us tomorrow as we do it all over again with the NBA Tip-Off Show. In the meantime, guys, best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.